ready, I think. Oh, gosh. There we go. Okay, now I'm ready. Going back again to where we left off yesterday on page Kaf. So the Shefa says like the V'zel Shana, B'tzarik Leida, Hakdama Kolalas V'Rosh Hashanah Ad Yom Kippur B'Klal. So you're supposed to focus on that. Hu l'saken seder Rabbiya the Spheres of Gevura. Now the Spheres of Gevura, there's it's mashma that there's a Rabbiya in every one of the Spheros. The Teda l'chol, ki kol prati pratus, the Spheres of the Tzilus, mispashdim merosh atik, so each one of the Spheros, every detail, in other words, you start breaking the Spheros down into the Spheros, each one of them, mispashdim merosh atik, ad sof asiyah. So all of them go through that, and this is the concept of the Abiyah, I guess. Call Kisrim, the call Pratios, the Ratzilus, once again, the spheres of the spheros, each one of them is going to have a Keser. He said, Mispashet call Orech Abiyah. It goes through the entire length of the Abiyah. Let me see what I got here. Abiyah umislavshim zeh b'zeh. V'chein spheres ha'chochma. It's the same thing with the chochma. All the chochmas are clothed one inside the next. Both in the essence spheres mispashtin that sarapamim abiyah. So it goes. Each one goes into 10 different abiyahs. Abiyah the keser, v'lechem malvish, and then on top of that malvish abiyah the chochma. So it's like this is like most like in Ovi, where you could really see how they're mislavish. All of Abiyah the Bina, all of Abiyah the Chesed, all of Abiyah the Gevura, V'ki Yotzev B'zecha B'kol Eser HaEser. Okay, I think we're okay so far. Let me see. I want to lift this camera up a little bit. Okay, and get it focused. Okay, so that's where we're at. So now he says something else. He said, "V'hine be'elach hayomim shebein Rosh Hashanah ad Yom Kippur askinin b'Rabbiya de Gevura." Okay, that was the end of the phrase. Ad kan l'shono. This is the quote previously, and he says, "K'mavura b'devrenu b'devarav she'af she'anu omdim." Shemisaknim Sfira Achas. Even though we're making a tika, we're focusing on Gevura here. Hu Abiyah Shalom Shal Sfira Chazal, but it's a complete and total Abiyah. In every single world, there's going to be this whole panoply of, I think it sounds like pretty much an infinite amount of combinations of starting with Kesser and going down. He says like this. Shebachanachu b'Purim misaklim es abiyah the netzach ve'es abiyah the hod. So we do both. He says what? Ella shebachanachu misaklim es hod shebachabiyah the netzach. So now you go into the abiyah of netzach, and you see in there's a hod in there. There are hods, multiple hods. Ve'es hod shebachabiyah the hod. So you do both. Ve'eda b'Purim misaklim es where are we? Es ha-netzach over there we're working on the netzach shebachabiyah the netzach. Ve'es ha-netzach shebachabiyah the hod. So we're working always on that. He says we're working on the prat. V'nimsa shebein b'Chanukah b'bein b'Purim misaklim as parts of a hod. So there always is tikkun going on in hod. Ella shebachanukah misaklim as a hod shebo. But in Chanukah, we're working on the hod that is in the various different spheros. Ubapurim misaklim as a netzach shebo. Umashem mashbach machalosh and Chanukah Purim hainu debein b'Chanukah b'bein b'Purim. This is what we're saying. Let me see where I'm at here. Misaklim gam as a netzach v'gam as a hod. So we're making a tikkun in all of them. Ella shebechanukah misaklim es a hod shalahem, but in Chanukah it's always the hod of netzach, the hod of hod. But Purim misaklim es a netzach shalahem. V'lefi divrei Hashem and Sason yisyashiv gam hamayim b'pri eitz chaim, which says what? He says this in Shar Chanukah. He said the Chanukah b'netzach b'zal d'shona. So he said that let me see if I get that right. Chanukah b'netzach b'zal d'shona. He hainu Chanukah b'netzach shuhu anaf hachma. It's on the right line. So shemen mishras kodesh. So that's the concept of flowing. I remember that in the Idras they use the word mishras or mashras for something other than just flowing oil. I don't remember what it was though. Shemen mishras kodesh. So since it's considered that, let's just look at it again. Benetzach shehuchi is an aspect, or let's say a descendant of Chachma. So Shemen, and it's the concept of Shemen Mishras Kodesh. I'd like to hear a definition of that. And as a result of that, he's have the nace takes place with Shemen. And it has to be through a Kohen. So this is like not like that. So according to what he said, we can really settle this or make an understanding like this. So that's what we said. So we're always dealing with the Hod on Chanukah, even if we're dealing with the Netzach aspect of the parts of this is what is really important to us because we're in the Zman now. What did he say? He said, Beis Moed, Beis Moed. I'm not sure what Beis Moed means. Do you know what Beis Moed means here? But he means talking about the holidays. Pasuk Divrei Rayasi, Levire Inyan Hamuadim V'cholol Shel Moed. This is a quote over here. V'chanukah b'Purim v'Rosh Chodesh. So we're going to go through all of those three. And he says like this. One second. So he said Rosh Chodesh. V'chadikos of two prakim, and it's divided into 15 different chapters. Perak Rishon, the first one, he inyan zemanim elu hu hisnotesis haoros alyonim bezmanim elu. So there is a sparking of upper lights at these times. V'lefi hazman im b'chesed im b'gevura. So it depends on the day, or what does he mean by that? If we're talking about chesed or gevura, or b'teferis or b'nai. Kol echad mizgala lefi ha'es v'hashah. So each one of them will have its moment. So what exactly does he mean by this? And he says, V'da, ki afal pi shebekol vav yemei ha'chol, poilim sheva midus elu k'naida, because each one of the days, today is the second day of the week, so today is the day of Gevurah. But the action, let's see, of the, okay, so he says their action is different. So Etzilus into Bria, Ubria into Yitzira, Be'eretz Yisrael. Now, this is a rule that I haven't heard, so let's see what he says. He says that this combination of Etzilus into Bria, they're clothed in Bria, and Bria being clothed in Yitzira, that is in Eretz Yisrael. But then you have also Yitzira Gam Kein B'chasiyik B'chutz La'aretz, but outside of the land, it actually has to funnel all the way down to a sea. And I'm sure what the chiluk is. Obviously, Eretz Yisrael is a higher level, so maybe it means to say that in the Beis Hamikdash, it's strictly, not strictly, but it's Olam Yetzirah already that you're dealing with, and it doesn't make it into so you're on a higher level, maybe. Kagon b'yom rishon poel chesed shebechatzilus, and mislav shebechesed debriya, v'chesed debriya mislav shebechesed Yetzirah, v'chesed Yetzirah mislav shebechesed Asiyah. That's be the final process. V'chein yom sheni shebegavura, so it's to be the same thing. The second day, which would be gavura. Yom shlishi b'teferes v'chein kula, all inside of the other. Amna b'yomim elu yizgalach asfiras elyonos mislavshos bebriya levad. So he says that the word is that they're misgala, they show themselves or they reveal themselves. Now, where do they reveal themselves? Amna b'yomim elu yizgalach asfiras elyonos mislavshem bebriya levad. So let's read this phrase. He said. So he says they only go on into Bria, Levad. Kol Svira, Svira Bisman, Mem Shalto, could go on, for example, let's say Pesach. Pesach is Chesed. So Pesach is Chesed. It's the Chesed de Ratzila, Mislavish Bechesed de Bria. V'los Yavish Bechesed de Yitzir, but it doesn't go further down. And once again, the significance of this, I would like to hear a lot more about it. He merov his galus or atzilus, because of the tremendous revelation of the light of atzilus, babria, yizbatel or chesed the yitzira. You don't need that because the light. And he says like this: the gamri, the shraga bati rachab mehanya. So what good does it do if you have a candle at bright noon? For Kol Shechein or Chesed, the Asiyah, so certainly the case has to do with the light of Chesed found in Asiyah. Halama Zadaima, so what can we compare this to? He said, the man hanotu tipin v'arubos hashemayim niftachos l'rov. So he says, what? It's like a well or a spring that's dripping water, tiping, Rubus Hashemayim, and the major part of the rain coming from the heaven, Niftakuch the Rov has Nikruch Osam Tipim Hanotfim. So it's like it's in the middle of a waterfall. You also have some drops. You would never notice the drops. Ki Nizbantach Beribo Yamayim Hayardech B'min the Shemayim. So he wants to say that the amount of light that takes place in these holidays is so overwhelming that the light of Yetzirah, the light of Asiyah, is not applicable because it's drowned by the light. So then you could see that same idea is in all the rest of the holidays. But the rest of the midos, it doesn't. This is a part I just want to look at a little more closely. He says, Shar Hamidos. So let's say we're saying we're in the second day of the week, or the second holiday, which refers to Gevurah, that which is Rosh Hashanah, etc. Lo bittul hislav shusam b'pesach afal pisha bittul or hachesed the Yetzirah. So even though the light of Chesed of Yetzirah is not operable, it doesn't mean it's not there, I think. Vor hachesed the Asiyah afal pikein Lo bitlo shar hamidos b'hislavshos b'yitzira v'chasira b'kashar yemei hachol. I'm not sure what this phrase means. He says, even though lo bitlo shar hamidos, so he means what? You're talking about chesed. B'hislavshos b'yitzira v'chasira, when it goes down and it's mislavish there, kashar yemei hachol, lefichol Huter behem meleches ochel nefesh adkan l'shono. So the last part, it's just got a little bit vague for me. Okay, where are we holding here? It goes over a few more minutes. Let's go up to the top of this page. Let me get a little drink here. The top of the page is, I want to read like this. Afal pi. Shebetefillah Shachris said, even though when we're davening in Shachris, B'chol Bi'arnu, the Yaakov B'netzav B'malchut B'hod, K'vi Zeh HaChol Hu Kadosh Yoser Mechanukah Purim. Asher tevaychu inem behod, because in those in the holidays of Hanukkah and Purim, both of them could be in hod. There's no netzach in the game. So he says, let's look over the light print on the left column, and it says the kafi zecha b'kasha. The nimsa de b'mei ha'chol yoser kodesh b'mei Hanukkah. Kol yemos ha'chol hadacher lokeach shefa mimakomo b'netzach. Ve'ein decha b'tzarek lered mimakomo, doesn't have to go down. What does he mean by down? If you're looking at them in a vertical formation, so then go to hod, it's going to be the next one down. The Hainu Docker Shuhu Yaakov V'nuk, that is the Docker, which is who Yaakov V'nuk, Yaakov V'nuk. He says, I'm not sure how that idea works. The Docker is both Zachar V'nuk, Bahod, Saraka Docker Shuhu Yaakov Lered Lahod Likach Shefa, in order to be able to get his Shefa. Let's read a little bit more in the light print. V'al hu al derek masha be'arna bedrashe Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Chodesh rather. Al inyan hayom tov sheyesh beRosh Chodesh lunuk. I don't know what that's about. Let me go backwards and before we get too far out there, and pick up this number hey over here. I think we have enough time to say that. Hey, what on this phrase? V'afal pi shebetefillah chakras b'chol bi'arna de Yaakov v'netzav v'malcha b'hod. So he said, Nevar b'katsara sedach al-zivugim. So he wants to go through the order of the zivugim, more background information, b'mos ha'chol of the Shabbos Kodesh. Alaman yavein alomed gavonas harav. So in order for us to be able to understand what the kavana of the Rav is, hinecha b'mos ha'chol, Ein ha-zivug ha'amitecha b'zun ha'gadolim. So it's not, during the weekday, it's not what we consider to be zun, that is zun ha'gadolim. Ela ha-yichud hu b'zun ha'katanim. So what's the difference? What is zun ha'katanim? So he writes, and he says, Hanikroim Yaakov Arachel. So they're called by the name of Rachel, Yaakov Arachel. V'nikroim zun ha'katanim, why? They're not the complete size of Zah. They're from the Chaz of the Bata. Hainu Yaakov Omer Benetza de Zah, V'Rachel Omedet Behod de Zah. V'chein Hein Mizdavgim, and that is their Yichud. They're going to bring those two elements together. The Zivug Zera is called by the name Segel. Now, why would it be called by the name Segel? The Yaakov Yamin V'Rachel B'Small. So it's like there's a dot which is produced from their yichud. Is that what he means? Let's say, when the azach commit a segel, and as a result of that, they make themselves like a segel. Shechazah be'emsa, the zah is in the middle of the two dots. Who hanekudah shlishis shebech segel, and he represents the nekudah shlishis. So that makes the two dots on the top sound like Abba ve'ima now. Yisrael Sabbat Tavuna. Kambavura beseder Reb Shabsach begavanas yihi kavod. Shazecha besod ki Yaakov bachar lo yak Yisrael segulasa. So this is this whole phrase. Let's just look at it 1 second. He says ki Yaakov, he chose for himself Yud K. That is the two upper dots. This is what I'm thinking. I don't know. Two upper dots of the segel. Also, and that he became a segel, he made the segel with them. V'hu tzuras segulta, which is the opposite other way around, which is that where the dot is on the top instead of the bottom. Shenekudah shlishis me'al shteicha nekudas ha'cheros. Masha ein came by Shabbos Kodesh, which is not the case by Shabbos Kodesh. Beis Amiris Keser, when you say Keser over there, if you're davening Nusach Sfard or Sfardi, that you're going to say the word Keser. Az yesh yichud shel zuna gedolim. At that point, there's going to be yichud of zuna gedolim. She'az olim zuna l'makom abba ve'imba, because the result of that is when you're saying Keser and Kedusha on Shabbos, you're actually elevating zuna gedolim. She'az olim zun l'makom abba ve'imba. They stretch themselves all the way up to the level of the gar. which is where you see Abba Ve'ima up there. V'na'asach b'shava, they become, as a result of that, they absorb this and they become same height. V'azivahu Yisrael v'rachel, that's a yichud of Yisrael v'rachel shehem zuna gedolim. B'Chanukah, over here, non Chanukah. Shulu b'mei ha'achol, which is a weekday thing. Shal zivughu b'Yaakov v'Rachel, it's going to be not Yisrael v'Rachel, but it's going to be Yaakov v'Rachel. V'var harav she'enach kashar yemei ha'achol, but it's not like any ordinary day. Ela shagam Yaakov omed behod zeranpin, but also Yaakov is over there. Now, there might be a little bit more we could do here, and so we have 2 minutes, according to me. The next one is number Vav in the Shefa Kavanos. Number Vav says, Ki Hanuk yesh lo oz tosefes kedusha. I think I was supposed to read up there, but I'm going to do this in the interest of time, because that got a little arichas up above. We'll get it tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem. And he says like that, because of a Rab, shemezerah v'nimshach, Ma shahanoshim nogos she'enin osas mlocha b'rosh chodesh. Lo shaykh zechot l'chanoshim, and it's not shaykh l'noshim. Well, I don't know that we have to look up above. I don't remember what it is, but we'll read it anyway. Avach b'Chanukah gam kein nogos anoshim shelo la'asos b'shas sha'neros dolkos. Kambavucha b'Shulchan Aruch and the Hilchos Chanukah, etc. Below hiskir zos kan b'tzarach iun. That's where we'll stop today, and we'll pick up on Aval up above, God willing, and see what that's all about.
Okay.
Kol tov.